Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking to you about how to start investing in property in the UK. Now, although I say the UK, this video is very much applicable to anywhere in the world because property is property at the end of the day. So yeah, wherever you are in the world, this video is definitely going to help you if you're somebody that's starting out in property and you really want to know like how to take the right, first steps into the whole, property world. Right, so first things first, if you're somebody that says you want to get into property, then you need to do your own background reading and do some studying for yourself, okay? Even if it is a case whereby you want to do some paid training at some point, it's always good to start with your own general good, basic foundational understanding because, wherever you're going to put your money into, it's always worthwhile knowing, basically like what it's about. You want to know how you can make money from this thing and how you're going to get a return on your investment. Like that is always key. So yeah, with property, I always say do your own general research. All too many times, like people approach me asking questions in DMs, comments, wherever it may be, telling me, I want to get into property, but I don't know where to start, or can you advise me? And it's very clear that, people haven't even done any reading in the first place. And that's not really going to help you because, with property, yes, it is, a good way to make money, but there are various different strategies and different goals when it comes to property. So some people are more interested in rental income, whereas some are more interested in the capital growth and making quick, short-term profits. So yeah, you can't say you want to get into property without having your own basic foundational understanding. That is just key. Number two, now that you've done some studying of your own, you have a good, foundational understanding of property and different ways that you can make money and how you want to make money in property, then you want to go on to deciding the strategy that you are going to implement in the first place. Now, in choosing the investment strategy that you want to start with, this is all going to really depend on the amount of capital that you have to play with or to invest in the first instance. So, I'll quickly talk through, some of the property strategies, although I do have a couple other videos whereby I talk about these strategies in a little bit more detail, but I'll just give a quick run through just so that you have a general understanding, and maybe then you can go on to think about, okay, maybe whether any of these might be for you, and then you can further look into these strategies. So property strategy number one is property sourcing or deal packaging, as it's also known. So this is basically whereby you sell property deals onto investors or even residential home buyers. Now, a lot of people do start with property sourcing because it's a great way to start making money from property, and then you can build up your capital to then be able to buy your own property, later down the line. Strategy number two is rent to rent. So this is basically when you rent a property from a landlord and then you go on to rent it to some other tenants. So basically you become the middleman or the new landlord. So the way you make money is by basically charging, the tenants an increased rent. And therefore you're able to pay the landlords their standard rent, and then you take the difference basically, which would be your profit. Now, rent to rent is another good strategy to start with because, you don't require as much capital to get started with investing. So unlike buying a buy-to-let property, you don't need to save this huge deposit because really you're just renting the property from a landlord and then renting it out to tenants. So yeah, there is a bit of, capital required in the first place, but it's never going to be as much as, buying your own buy-to-let property or a HMO property. Strategy number three is a buy-to-let single-let. So basically when you buy a property and then you rent it out to one, household, so one family, maybe a working professional, it could be, a student, it could be anyone, but basically you're just renting out that property to one household. Number four, you have a HMO buy-to-let. So this is basically when you buy a buy-to-let property, but rather than renting it out to one individual or one household, you rent it out to a number of different people. So if it's a 3-bed property, you're going to rent out each of those 3 individual rooms to 3 different tenants rather than just renting out the whole property as one home to one household. The next strategy is buy to flip or flip. So this is basically when you buy a property at a discounted price, then you do some refurb to increase the value of that property, and then you sell it almost straight away. By doing this, you can see some instant profit, and so this is why a lot of investors do go for this strategy because you can make really big lump sums of money, just like that. You don't have to wait for rental income to start coming in. And then finally, you have BRRR, which is buy, refurbish, refinance, and then rent. So it's kind of like a flip, but at the same time you retain the property and you also rent it out to tenants. So what you do is you buy a property, then you refurbish it to increase its value, then you go on to refinance so that you can release some of the money that you invested in that property and then possibly put towards another property or something else, and then you continue to rent that property for monthly cash flow by, you know, rental income. So that was a brief run through of the main strategies when it comes to investing in property and making money through property. So hopefully those have given you some ideas as to, you know, maybe which ones are most suited to you and which ones you can personally start with. So yeah, number 2 is deciding on a strategy for yourself. Number 3, do more research into your chosen strategy. So, you know, maybe you've identified that you're going to start with property sourcing or rent to rent or even a buy to let like I did. So now at this stage, you want to do further reading, further research into this actual strategy. Like, what does it entail? What is required of you? What kind of skill sets do you need? What do you need to know? What are the capital requirements? So how much money do you actually need to start with this strategy? How about your power team? When do you need to start building relationships with these people and getting them on board? So people like, you know, mortgage brokers, solicitors, you know, builders and tradesmen, property sources, even if you want to work with sources to find your property to buy, like, you know, various different people that are going to have an impact in your property investment journey. Like, you want to make sure that, you know, you're building these relationships at the right time. Step number 4 is paid for training, coaching, or other one-to-one support. Now, this is totally optional, by the way, and personally, it's not something that I've ever paid for. I have a like sort of indirect, informal mentor. So like, if I have like questions of things, like, you know, I just ask her. But yeah, generally, like, if you're going to pay for training, you want to make sure that you are paying for something that's actually going to add value to your life, and it's going to be something that's going to help you get out of, you know, a sticky place, basically. That's my view anyway, which is why I think it's always so important to do your own like general research and have a good understanding of whatever you're getting involved in by yourself in the first instance, because you just want to make sure that nobody can ever pull the wool over your eyes. So if you know you're going to pay for training or coaching or just, you know, one-to-one support or consultations, you want to make sure that you have a good understanding yourself, so that by the time you go into this paid like training or whatever it is, when they're feeding you information, you can easily identify whether it's something that, you know, is actually adding value to your life and you're getting good value for money, or whether it's a case whereby like this is information that you already knew yourself and you could easily find online. So yeah, I always think, you know, before you go into any sort of paid, you know, help, you want to make sure that you have that good understanding. Like, to be honest, I've personally heard too many stories online, and also people telling me directly, like people who have, you know, booked consultations with me, who have said that, you know, previously they've paid for trainings, paid loads of money for trainings and, you know, like coaching, things like that. But yeah, they're still stuck. They still don't know what step to take next. And it's just like, you know, what is the point at the end of the day? So yeah, you just want to make sure that you have a good knowledge base yourself, and then go on to verify whoever you're doing training with, and have a good sort of like belief and, you know, knowledge that, you know, they're going to be able to help you and get you out of the situation that you're stuck in, and give you truly helpful advice that's going to guide you through, you know, your next steps and what you actually need to do to put yourself ahead. Step number 5 is to make a move. So like, put aside those nerves and the fear of it not working or the fear of losing money. Like, you know, at the end of the day, to make money, you need to spend some money. So do not be afraid. And also, when it comes to property, it's one of those things whereby like, it's the time in the game that really counts, really. So even if you make a mistake in the beginning, let's say you overspend on a property, maybe you could have got it at more of a discount, but you didn't because you're new. It is really not the end of the day, because with property, it's just so forgiving. It's all about capital appreciation. When you buy a property in, you know, 5-10 years time, you'll be surprised at how much that property has increased in value. And so really, even if you overpaid on a property, it's forgiven in the sense that you'll make your money back anyway. So yeah, just always remember that with property, it's a long-term game. So yeah, forget those fears. Yes, obviously be smart with your decisions, do your due diligence on a property that you're going to buy and all those kind of things, but do not let that fear hold you back. I was once in that position. I was ready to buy my property, but I sort of delayed for about 2 years, to be honest, because I was worried, I was scared, what if I put money in this property and it doesn't work out? But like, there's really no need for that. When it comes to investments, there's always going to be a risk factor, and with property, I believe it's the least like risk-free, because, you know, people always need property, people always need a place to live. It's just one of those things that is a necessity at the end of the day. Just go for it, put aside those fears, those nerves, and just, you know, move forward. Number 6 is to keep going and growing. So you want to devise a roadmap of what you want your property portfolio or your property business to look like, and how are you going to get there? Is it a case whereby you want to have 3 properties in your first year to 2 years in property, or do you want to have 10 properties in your first 5 years, or whatever number you have in mind? You want to put that down on paper and then identify how you're going to get there. Also, do you want to implement any other property investment strategies, and how are you going to do that? What are your next steps to get into that place? Also, joint ventures. Do you plan to work with anybody when it comes to your investment journey? Do you want to work with anybody to be able to get more capital to invest in properties? Or maybe you want to joint venture with somebody so that they can project manage all your investments. Like, what is it like? Who do you need again in your power team to help push your your investment journey further? So yeah, these are the kind of questions that you want to be asking yourself at this stage. And finally, number 7 is to surround yourself with like-minded people. So this is so important in your property journey, and to be honest, it's a major factor to doing well in life generally. Yeah, you want to find people that are going to motivate you to keep going, to keep doing well, and just to keep you focused really. This is so important, and I found it in my own property journey also, like in times of like demotivation and feeling like I just can't be bothered, like seeing others around me doing similar things is definitely giving me that push that I needed. So yeah, do not fail to have like-minded people around you. Like, it's super important. It's really going to help you to just push ahead. So guys, that brings me to the end of this video. For me, that is how to start investing in property properly, and hopefully you found this video useful. Like, if you have any questions on any of the points that I've mentioned or anything in general, please do drop them down in the comments. And as always, if you have any other video suggestions or topics that you'd like me to cover, please do also let me know in the comments, and I'll make sure that I create that video for you. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye.